There is an endless sea of podcasts about entrepreneurship. Talking about it, but not living it. We live it every day. This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle, talking about real estate investing, but also encompassing general subjects in regards to owning small to medium-sized businesses. And of course, all the struggles that business owners must overcome to be successful. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. And this is Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. My name is Shawn Wolfswinkle. I'm here with Joni, and also Brett Moses is in the house. Yeah, How are you?
Good. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, we're excited to be back and share more. We've spent the several episodes, talking about our personal journey, letting you guys get to know us better and notice our struggles and where we came from, and give you at least a foundation so that we can build from there. So today we're going to get more into business. We're going to talk, kind of some of the techniques and a good book that we recommend, and something that really helped us, scale our companies, not just a company, and also build a solid leadership team and organization within our company. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So we're going to get into the book's called Scaling Up. It's written by Vern Harnish. We took the book a couple years ago, read it. We had also, before that, read EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Both are great books. I know a lot of you guys out there have read both of them. I think more people probably implemented EOS into their business. And the way I have heard, people distinguish between the two, books is EOS is for like 0 to 2 million in sales, and then Scaling Up, is 2 million in larger, much larger organizations, 100 employee organizations. But, we hired a Scaling Up business coach through the Growth Institute to help us. So we had a coach for a year and a half. Awesome guy, still friends with him, and get into a little bit about
So, I think why we kind of taken it back a little bit, why we hired a Scaling Up coach to begin with was, we love to travel. For those that know us, that we're, out of town. Before COVID, we were on vacation, once or twice a month with our family. That's just, how we kind of recuperate. And so we were finding, though, going on vacation, we were answering phone calls, emails, to all hours of the night. And so it really wasn't a vacation. We weren't really focused on our family. Coming back from a vacation, we're almost needing to take another vacation, from a vacation. So we figured that we needed to do something about it, and we needed to, put processes and procedures in place and leadership team in place, so we can do those things.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of you can relate that, it's sometimes it's difficult, especially being an entrepreneur, and if you wear a lot of hats in your company, and as you're scaling, usually as you're scaling a company, you're growing so fast that usually you're short. You don't have the revenue maybe necessarily to pay for the employees that you truly need. So you're always just feels like, you're just kicking and kicking below water, just trying to stay ahead. So when you're traveling and, it's hard to shut down, and maybe we're just too involved, but it was always hard for us to not bring our phones, not check our email, not be taking phone calls. So It's a struggle, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that.
Yeah.
Another aspect to that is, does your business truly run without you? And does it, can it run without you? Maybe it doesn't need to, but can it? If you step away, or say you get sick, or say you need to take care of a family member, can you take yourself out of your company, and will it run, with you not being there? Is it sustainable? Is it sellable too? Can it? So if you exit the company, is the company just about you? And so the minute you leave it, it's gone? Or is it, does it have residual income that's going to perform every month? I think you got to look at all those aspects and really analyze your business. And is it something that can be sold, or something that somebody wants to buy? and then will it run, whether you're there or not. And so tell them about like what we did last year to kind of to start this.
So I mean, to start, I mean, we once we did the whole scaling up, and, we thought, okay, let's we got everything in place, leadership team, processes and procedures, and we wanted to test it and say, okay, let's go ahead and stress test the business and see if it really does run without us. So we actually took an entire month off last June. To really, spend with our family and do things that our kids wanted to do. And I mean, this was not just like you take a vacation, and you answer an email here and there, or answer a phone call. This was like completely off the grid, no phone calls, no texts, no emails. I mean, we were just off the grid, and it was stressful. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there were times where Shawn and I were like, "Oh my gosh, should we check in with the team to see how they're doing?" And when we put all this in place, they were all for it. They were excited because we had faith and trust in them that they could do it. And so I mean, it was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, the trip was awesome, and what we did during those times was awesome. But I was like going through withdrawals, so it'd been 19 years that we had been just at it. And then to step away for an entire month was hard. I think it was harder on us than it was probably on our employees. The business ran fine, nothing, and not a lot can change in a month, but still the company still grew. We, perform like we should,
And we probably perform better than what we would before. And I think one of the things that I learned was, because when I'm in the office, I feel sometimes employees come to me because they're like, oh, well, let me just get Joni's perspective on it, And what I've learned is like, well, ask them a lot of questions, if they're asking you like, hey, what would you do in this situation? And, revert it back and say, well, what would you do? And try to most of the time they know the answers to these questions. They just, don't have the confidence to answer them. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I found was, you just let them lead, and delegate more was the biggest thing.
Yeah. And once they are forced to make that decision, you're not there to bail them out. They have to. So they have to do it regardless. So it allowed them to do that. Yeah. So. But leading up to that, some of the big takeaways from the book that we got and our coach from the Growth Institute was, first and foremost, we needed a strong leadership team. Mm-hmm. So that's something we built with our coach. We took, I think at that time it was 8 key employees that we felt were necessary and vital to the company. Mm-hmm. And we met regularly once a week, and we still do today. But and they're our strongest leaders. They were the ones that we come with ideas, everybody shares, everybody has the best interests of the company. They have key positions, so they know what's going on in all aspects of the organization. And but to be honest with you, when we first tried this, we failed, mm-hmm. if you remember. Yeah. We felt horrible. So when we first tried this, we went out and we were missing some key employees. So we went out and hired a headhunter to find us some key people. We paid more than we had ever paid as far as salaries, and it just bombed. I mean, we got part of it. I think we relied too much on the headhunters, and rather than relying still on our own hiring processes that we had. But if you remember, it got worse.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have the right people in place, and so we kind of went backwards a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I think we relied on them a little too much instead of, still following our same processes with, hiring and, doing what we needed to on our end. We just kind of fully relied on them, and it was a bomb.
Yeah. And Joni and I always believe in hiring people smarter than you. And it probably speaking for myself, it doesn't take much, but and when we do that, we relied on them, and we didn't. I think we let go of some of our own initiatives or intuitions that we knew weren't right, and yet we should have followed our gut. As the owners or entrepreneurs, we knew what was the best.
Yeah, we knew. I mean, we talk a lot about our company and our culture, and having the right culture fit. And we just relied on them totally, and most of them weren't even the right culture fit for us.
Yeah, and we ended up, obviously letting those key individuals go. We went to a very linear org chart, and where everybody was pretty much reporting to Joni and I again.
Which made it tough. That was terrible. For everything, they would come to us, and so we didn't have a life, really.
Yeah, and then from there we rebuilt and, put in the right people and really heavily focused. And I've always said this from the beginning, the right people on the bus. So people make fun of me in our company that I'm always talking about our bus. And someday I'm going to rent a bus and we're going to all go to lunch or something in a yellow bus. But we needed the right, first and foremost, we always hire to find the right people on the bus, to make sure they're going to be the right fit. And then we find the right seat for them. And some of our key employees to this today came in interviewing for a different position. Yeah. And we just knew that they were right for this position, and they excelled and blossomed. And
absolutely.
So always first and foremost, right person on the bus, and then second, the right seat. And then another thing we did, that's part of the book is our monthly meeting rhythm. And so we started our daily huddles, which are awesome.
Yeah, our huddles are incredible. It's, we have several different companies, so we all kind of huddle in together. The first 15 minutes really of the day, we kind of go over, priorities for the day. We go over stucks, and then of course good news. We have several virtual assistants, and so that's part of it too. We want them to feel like they're part of our team. So and that's the only way it really works, if you have your virtual assistants as huddle in and make them as part of your team.
And they are part of the team.
Yeah.
And so they
being so far away though, sometimes you can feel like kind of disengaged. But the huddles really help with that.
And that's the first 15 minutes of the day. We meet at 9:38 every morning. Everybody around there. Some of these people are in different parts of the country or the world. I'm sorry, and then we have our other office in Albuquerque. So we all meet it together, huddle up. Before COVID-19, obviously we were meeting. The people in our Houston office and then the Albuquerque, they would meet together in the conference rooms, and we use an OWL system on Zoom, and then so it gets the whole 360 view of the entire conference room, and it picks up on who's talking, and it's a neat experience. Obviously, with COVID, we went remote, everybody, and then we're still meeting through Zoom, and everybody meets in their own offices. But so it still can be done. All our meetings are still done through Zoom, and we're still practicing the same meeting rhythm, just virtually. And then we went on to doing our leadership weekly meetings. So go into what we talk about kind of our leadership.
Yeah, the leadership meetings are more high level. It's not the day-to-day, what can we improve type of things. It's, like how more in-depth, like how can we, grow. We just, everybody has an opportunity to share. Something that we do is each week, somebody will lead that leadership meeting, and so that way we can try to get to their initiatives as well.
Yeah, so they choose a different leader for each week. They usually bring in some material to prepare, and we'll send that out ahead of time so that we can prepare for the meeting, and then we all bring our ideas, collaborate, and it's amazing what the team the ideas that, and for years it was always like the Shawn and Joni show, and it was always like we had to bring the ideas to the table constantly, and that's fine for a while, but eventually, when you're bringing on smarter people than you are, they have great ideas, and you should see, like, people from the receptionists up can bring, because they're on the front lines, they're interacting with the clients, they know better than you and I anymore today, and they know, so they bring some ideas that are like, just blows us away, and if we implement them, actually they get rewards. You know?
Absolutely. Like last month, what we did was each department had to present a process that maybe can improve their department, which is kind of cool. And so everybody presented on it, and we chose the winner of it, and we implemented that process. So,
several of them.
Yeah,
and some really great ideas. So. And then we do quarterly meetings, and that's usually done off-site with the leadership team. We do a day event somewhere, We go over we reflect on where we've been. Did we hit our initiatives? Do we have any rocks that we need to, tackle? And then from there, we went on to planning for the next quarter.
Yeah.
And so those are always awesome to see. The biggest thing is that just blows me away is like how quickly we're knocking out those initiatives. Especially this year.
Yeah, we did pretty good this year. Another thing that is scaling up has taught us as well is, we have several different locations. And so for you and I, it was really hard to manage each location, right? And so now we're all aligned. So before, like, Albuquerque was doing, kind of their own thing, and Houston maybe was doing something different. And now we're all doing the same thing, and so all of our companies are aligned now.
Yeah, there's no silos. They're not individuals, and we're a team, even though we're in different markets,
right,
and maybe different companies. But yeah, that was awesome to align everybody. Some of the individuals that are on our leadership team in different markets, they actually fly and we all meet together for the quarterly. Except for obviously now with COVID, we're not flying right now, but at least we're still meeting virtually. And then our last is our annual meeting that we do with our leadership team. It's offsite again, but we usually do it. So last year we went to Waco and went to the Chip and Joanna Gaines silos and did all that stuff there. And so we make it fun, but we meet somewhere offsite for a couple of days, spend some time together, build that unity. Because, these are the people that are leading our companies and our organization. And so we get to know them on a personal level. They get to know us. And then we obviously share what we're going to do for that year and reflect on last year.
Yeah.
So, did you enjoy the last?
Oh, it was
leadership?
awesome. Yeah. It gave me a chance to get to know each of the leadership team on a more personal level.
Yeah.
We went deep into our business, and we came out with a lot of great ideas, and I think we pretty much nailed all those. It
was pretty awesome too, because we stayed in one of Chip and Joanna Gaines' houses that they had renovated and flipped, and so it was neat to stay in that. And the tour bus comes by, so we're sitting there doing our meetings, one day, and like the tour bus comes by every 30 minutes, and so we just go by the window and wave to them all, and it was a fun experience. We had a really good time. So another thing we got from the book that we did implement and took was we kind of looked at our full customer experience timeline. So we actually whiteboarded and took along a whole wall of our conference room and just, from initial marketing material that the client gets or a pay-per-click ad, and then all the way through to the entire experience, our full customer experience timeline to when they finally sell the house or terminate with us or whatever, we went through every touch point that we have with the client and really improved on each process.
Yeah.
And it was, that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. And, I give a lot of credit to Brett back here, our marketing director. He did a lot with our team on the customer service side. And, we do
the sales playbook.
Yeah, we did our sales playbook. And then we also we do our customer service roundup every week, just because you do get those, odd questions where maybe a team member doesn't know how to answer them. And, we really want to provide the best customer service we can to, all of our clients. So we really, really work hard on that.
And the team was awesome. From our operations managers, director to maintenance director, they just took some huge initiatives on and really built those. And so it's awesome to see, and took technology that we hadn't implemented yet and really built on them. So, and then the last probably step, the biggest aha or takeaway for me, in order to do all this was you and I, but more specifically me, was to delegate. Yeah. I think throughout this, our coach really helped me understand and see the perspective that I was the bottleneck in a lot of things.
And I think, one of the first things that you did was we hired an executive assistant that, was a huge game changer for you and I. I think I did a study. I kind of journaled everything that I was doing throughout the day, and it was amazing, like how much I spent on just emails, and I think you were the same. And so hiring that executive assistant really, helped with that, and we can do things that we needed to,
Yeah.
build the business
Today
versus working in the business, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do without her today. I mean, it
No.
would be, and she's awesome, and she ends up she serves in National Guard, and so the couple of days that she's gone, I mean, it you notice the big hole or gap, and I'm like, man, I need her back quickly.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and going back to when we took the entire month off, I mean, not having an executive assistant, that would have been painful because I think she, for the most part, took it all. She responded for us, and she assisted in pretty much any way.
So yeah, so our just so you guys know, our executive assistant monitors our email, responds when necessary. Took a lot of the tasks that, if you really analyze, and I highly recommend this, is you just take a whole week and just have a notebook beside you, and so throughout the day, you just write down everything you did throughout the day. And I found I was spending hours in email,
at least 85% in emails.
Yeah, just responding to emails and handling emails, and it was like, what am I doing? I'm not bettering the company. I'm not furthering along, and so taking that off my plate was huge. We had some things that I was just thought I had to do, but I didn't. Once I found out I can delegate this, people actually do a lot better job of it than I am, and so and you'll realize that as you implement and delegate, you'll find out that there's actually better processes, and people will develop better ways of doing things than you did. And sometimes maybe not, but at least it's better that they're doing it. And even if they do it like 85% of what you could do it, it's still better, because then you can now take your company and grow it, or focus on a new venture, or just take time away with your family and just get a break for a while. So we also we went into a little bit about the vacation, the month that we took off. We first started with just Fridays, if you remember that.
And I mean, for you, I mean, I think we actually you started to take Fridays off. But what was funny was that Shawn started to feel guilty because he was taking Fridays off, and none of the employees had those Fridays off. So we went to 410s for a little bit. Do you remember
just
that?
So I didn't feel guilty. Yeah.
So just so you didn't feel guilty about it, but didn't work out. We went back to normal schedule,
guys.
and I was like, hey, you don't have to feel guilty about it, And honestly, I loved my Fridays off because it was time, that I mean, you need those times just to think. I feel, just like a moment of silence, like nothing going on, just thinking and taking notes from your thoughts, and and for me, I mean, I was able to write my book during that time, so it was awesome, taking those Fridays off.
Yeah, I called them my thinking days, and it was I highly recommend, even if you can just get a day a month, and just take that time for yourself. It's not selfish. It's time you need. It's time to,
because when you come back, you're so much more productive.
Absolutely. And then we took the month off. We want to get into just a little bit of what we did, and kind of how we structured it.
Yeah, we actually spent I think a couple weeks in Hawaii. And then we came back and we went backpacking in New Mexico for a week with our kids. So that was pretty awesome. We're, didn't have any cell phone,
Yeah, it didn't work anyway.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. And so we camped out there for a week and just quality time with our family.
We survived.
Yeah.
So if you know me, I'm not the outdoors kind of guy. And so I could barely pitch a tent. So, but anyways, we survived. We made it. Kids had a blast, and it was just good, time with no technology. So
yeah, and those are memories that they will cherish forever, even to this date. They talk about, Mom, when are we gonna go back? And I had so much fun camping, and it's just the little things that they get excited about.
Yeah. What did you think as far as the company? Any takeaways as far as maybe things that didn't go well, or things that, could have been improved on?
I mean, yeah, there's always things that you can improve on. I think the biggest thing was allowing them to lead. I was finding that when I was in the office, I was, more outspoken, and so kind of leading the show, where now I kind of take a step back and let the leadership team lead.
Yeah.
And it works out great. And, everything was just fine when we came back.
Yeah. And I think some of the ahas for me too was in that scenario was I felt you and I provide a little bit of that grit, that hustle, that some can probably as pressure, that we bring to sometimes the
intensity.
The intensity. That's a good word for it. And it you need that. I understand that at times it can be too long of that, too much, probably, can wear on people. But I know that that's what we bring to the table, and that's because that's what we've done for so many years, and we know that's what it takes to succeed. But I think that fell a little bit when we were gone. It's like maybe they didn't think that. I don't know. I felt they thought, not that they took a vacation too, but that they didn't have that drive.
Yeah,
somebody
they get
driving
that loose a little bit, and that's, I think that's normal. But I think if anything, that's something that we can work on. I mean, even to this day, I think when we take a couple weeks off, we still feel that. So,
and I think we saw there was a couple performance issues that I think we could have improved on, and had to make some changes with those. And that's probably what brought where we didn't feel that drive was the people that aren't performing or they're going to be exposed, or the light's going to shine on them, especially if you or I were compensating for them. And so I think, some of those are going to come out as well.
Yeah, and I think, now that you bring that up, we didn't bring up our key performance. Actually the KPIs reports, we do that every day as well. And so we track our numbers, how many leases we've done, how many, outstanding work orders are out there. And so again, monitoring that, and we have goals for each department. So if they're not meeting those, then we'll know.
Yeah. And everybody knows actually, because we published the KPI reports, and it's public to the whole organization. So, if somebody's not hitting their numbers, and we even have it color coded. So it's green if they're hitting their numbers, yellow if they're not hit that yet, and red if they're missed their mark. And I think they're super green if they just blow out of the water their numbers. And so you can really track, and everybody can see it.
And we make it fun. We make it a competition. They get excited about, if they're leading in their department. Something that our team rolled out was Shoni Bucks. So they get, rewarded with Shoni Bucks if they meet their goals for the month. So the Shoni Bucks are pretty cool. So it's $1 bill with Joni and I, with our face, or us standing together, I think from a Christmas party. Yeah. But the Shoni Bucks is much like a what is where we take our kids? What is that called? Chuck E. Cheese
one of those where you get so many rewards or tickets, and then they get to add those up, and they get it for showing our core values, for cheers for peers, where if they do, some get rewarded, they get rewarded, they do something good within the organization, somebody else calls it out and says, hey, somebody help me out with this, they get Shoni Bucks. When they hit goals, or when they hit different performance levels, they get Shoni Bucks, and then there's these prizes that obviously they get, and probably the ultimate prize is, I think, $500.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool. Can save them up if they wanted to for something bigger.
Yeah, something. Days off and paid days off, and so it's fun. The team,
they get excited about that.
Yeah. Probably the last couple of things I want to talk about, just about from scaling up, was I think we also, which really helped us, and it really made a difference into what we're going through now with COVID-19, and a lot of business are going through, is we looked at our cash positions with our business coach. And so we cut expenses wherever we could. And it's amazing. You just take your credit card statement for your company and just look at the recurring charges and stuff that you're like, wow, we don't use that.
Yeah. I'm paying for that. How long have I been paying for that?
Years. And you didn't even know it was there. So I'd highly recommend that. We looked at ways we could generate more revenue, and it's amazing what came out of that within our leadership team. So we implemented new programs that I don't think we were trying to create different revenue streams and create more cash. I don't know if we didn't have that focus, I don't know if we would have come up with all those different revenue programs that we implemented.
I don't think so either. And it's to, benefit, the residents and the owners. So
it adds value.
It's adding value, absolutely.
To them. And so both of them are getting rewarded. And at the same time, we're making additional revenue within our company. So I think all those really helped us to having the highest revenue per unit in the industry. We're one of the top out there. And so, and a lot of that just had to do with us just focusing on our cash positions.
Yeah.
And then we also looked, lastly, was how could we receive revenue quicker? Was there areas that we could get the money earlier than waiting 90 days to collect on it or something like, just improving our cash flow.
Right.
And I think all that helped us to where like we didn't feel anything in COVID-19. We were able to keep moving. We had cash reserves. We were positioned for something like this, even though we didn't have any idea it was coming.
Yeah.
But so anyways, we're going to end with that. I think we got into a little bit of the whole book and what we took from it and what we've implemented over the years. We'll get into more down the road on SWOT. I think that's another key thing you just analyze your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That we took away from that working out of the book and from our coach. But we hope you got your value out of that. We hope, all of you that do have businesses yourself, or maybe you can take a few nuggets away and implement them in the company you work for. But we hope you got some benefit and value out of that. Continue to follow us on Inside the Wolf's Den on Facebook, iTunes,
YouTube,
Stitcher. Yes, follow us. If you want to follow us personally, we'd love for you. We'd love to get your feedback. We'd love to hear from all of you and just share with us what you're getting out of the podcast.
Yeah.
You can follow Joni at Joni M. Wolf on Instagram. I'm Shawn the Wolf on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Anywhere else? In LinkedIn. But we would love to, connect with you guys. If we can add value to anybody, we'd love to connect and go from there. So follow us, like this show. We can't do it without you guys liking and sharing it. So have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya, guys.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.